Hello everyone and welcome to Investment News TV. My name is James Burton and we're here on day 3 of the Schwab Impact 2025. Delighted to be joined by Gene Farrell, CEO at Vanilla. Gene, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, James, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So you presented yesterday and we just had a little chat before we came in front of the camera. We were talking about estate planning.
Yeah.
So do enough advisors pay enough attention to estate planning?
Absolutely not. Well, advisors, I think, are realizing is that investments are no longer enough. They're not able to achieve really investment alpha. And clients, frankly, don't believe they can achieve investment alpha. So they're looking for ways to better support clients and, frankly, justify the fees that they earn. And so the big trend now is holistic planning. And how do I start becoming not just an investment coach, but really a life coach? And estate planning is one that's really top of mind, particularly now because there's this massive wealth transfer. About $124 trillion is going to transfer between generations over the next 20 years. And while that transition is going to happen over time, a lot of the planning is happening now. And it's very top of mind. And in fact, the data supports that. About 93% of advised clients want their advisor to help them navigate their estate planning process. Yet only 24% of clients are getting that service from their advisor today. So at Vanilla, we really focus on how do we empower that advisor to meet their clients wherever they are in that estate planning journey. And really regardless of wealth level, whether they're earlier in their wealth building and life journey, maybe they're a young family or just gotten married, to maybe someone that's a little bit more established and has amassed significant assets and they need to think about estate taxes and those types of things.
Again, as we were talking, we talked about, you only get one shot to plan for your demise, which is a bit morbid, but it's also quite serious because if you don't do it right, you leave behind a mess for your nearest and dearest.
That's exactly right.
How do you suggest advisors approach that and have that conversation?
Yeah. Well, we actually provide a whole tool set for them to help them kind of educate the client on what's important about an estate plan, and then how to start engaging that conversation, because it's probably the most intimate conversation an advisor's ever going to have with a client, because you're diving into who they love, their family and what those relationships look like, their wealth, their total wealth. Many advisors manage a portion of the client's estate, but to do a proper estate plan, you really need to understand the entire picture. And then what's their relationship with money? Do they want to give it to charity? Do they have a cause that they care about? Do they want to pass on to the next generation? If so, they're really anxious to understand, how do I do that in a way that, to your point, doesn't cause a fight or spoil their kids or cause more harm than good?
Another big area for advisors is getting new clients and retaining the ones they've got.
Absolutely.
So how does estate planning and holistic planning play into that? As a tactic, let's be honest, for advisors to kind of keep that book.
Absolutely. In fact, estate planning is, in my opinion, is probably one of the most effective ways to build your business. And we have some customers that have demonstrated that, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the value proposition for offering estate planning is really threefold. It starts with that deep relationship and retaining clients. How do I make sure the clients I have stay? And not just the primary clients I have today, but also their children, right? A lot of the data suggests that as your primary clients pass away, if you don't have a relationship with the kids, those assets are going somewhere else because the kids probably have another advisor. So retention is certainly job one. Second is around actually building assets under management. And when I talked a minute ago about that really intimate conversation, well, part of that intimate conversation is understanding the full balance sheet. And it's really one of the few motions an advisor can go through with a client where the client's not like guarded, right? I don't know what it's like for you, but when my advisor out of the blue says, talk to me about the other assets you have that I'm not managing, my first thought is he's got something he's trying to pitch me, right? Versus if he came to me and said, hey, I want to, let's review your estate plan and we need to understand your total, balance sheet. It's just a different conversation. And what many times happens though, is once they understand the full balance sheet and you help the client actually plan, the client's much more likely to say, you know what, I want all my assets being planned for, not just what's with you today. So, and we have many customers that report significant growth in assets under management through the estate planning motion. And then the third is really prospect. And we have a lot of advisors that are differentiating their practice by leading with estate planning. Everybody can talk to them about the personalized portfolio or how we're going to balance better than somebody else.
Yeah.
It's completely undifferentiated. When you lead with, I'm going to show you how to protect your family, potentially for generations to come and really build generational wealth, that gets people's attention.
Gene, thanks so much for joining us. Great to chat.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for joining us on Investment News TV. We'll see you next time.